All right. Cody Nodding has had a gigantic boner over here for the last hour, so let's start talking about some wrestling.
Okay.
Just to appease poor Cody. So we actually got a bunch of wrestling stuff that we're going to talk about here. So this is like, it's kind of an episode of Last Fan Standing, but not really. I don't think we'll make it an official episode. It's just, we're just going to talk some wrestling because we haven't been on in a couple of weeks. So some shit has happened. We're going to start, of course, with Twin City Wrestling because that's the most important one because it's around here and we actually get to see it live. What are you doing?
You get to see it live. I work it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, poor Nick has to work it. Although, let me work it. Although, exactly. But for those of us that were in attendance in the Liverpool show, they would have seen at one point I ran across the stage to make the save when Lumberjack Johnson's theme music didn't play.
You did. That was your phone.
Because I look over and you're just like...
Yeah, I had my hands up in the air just like, what the hell's going on?
And I fucking bolt out of my seat and I zoom in front of a bunch of people. And I'm just like, play good. And it started playing and I was just like, whoo. Sweet. Made it. Hatbox is heading out. Thanks for stopping by, Chris. I hope you enjoyed the podcast, what you listened to it, sir. And hope you come back and listen to more. All right. So we still have Gio and Cody, and that's what matters.
Yay.
Cody actually kind of chimes in there. I've been to a couple of TCW shows. What does TCW have to do to get more people in the door? And this is something that we've kind of sort of debated back and forth. Really, it's a matter of marketing, and it's a matter of like the foot soldiers, like the two of us and Doug and Rodney and Cody and Justin Carver and the people that are like real big, huge fans of TCW need to work so hard to make other people believers. Because honestly, the product is good enough that you only have to get people in the door once. Because once you get them in the door once, they're going to want to come to the next show. But it's getting them in the door the first time to see the actual show. Like those guys from Halifax that were sitting behind us only came to the show because Twin City Wrestling offered that voucher for either $5 off of merchandise or $5 off of the next show's tickets. And that was the only reason they came. But they came, they sat down, they watched the show, they bought the fucking merchandise. They were all wearing TCW shirts by the end of the night. And they were all just like, this was a fucking great show. So those people are going to come back.
That's good.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
But the biggest crux is getting people in the door the first time. Because once you get them in the door the first time, nailed it, right? Like you're from that point, it's gravy. But it's getting people convinced that it's worth going to the first show, because after that, they'll be fine. So really just the onus is on the fans that really, really love the product to get people convinced. And, of course, location. I mean, it's got to be in good locations.
It's true.
Liverpool, while not a bad location in and of itself, because it was a good building, was out of the way for some people. Like, trying to find it, and B, just like it was supposed to be in Lunenburg, and then it moved to Liverpool, and that was kind of short notice, and people from Bridgewater, which is the biggest sort of urban center here outside of Halifax, are kind of cocky in a way. We talked about this at supper. Kind of cocky, and it's like, well, why would I want to go to Liverpool for that? Because people in Bridgewater aren't used to having to go out of town unless they're going to Halifax to try to find something. So it really, it's just like location, and just getting people convinced to come in the door the first time. Didn't another company run in Liverpool and I heard had a good sized crowd?
Yes.
Yeah, UCW ran Liverpool, didn't they?
They did, and I had the opportunity to speak with the guy who did the promotions down in Liverpool.
Okay.
He actually he works over in the AA Monroe insurance building down on Main Street.
Right.
And really good guy. thing is with, and I don't want to put this all on the advertising, but it's going to go this way.
Right.
And I mean, there's just no other way to put it. I mean, if you went down into Liverpool and looked for a TCW poster or stuff like that,
you didn't find them.
It was hard to come by. If you went down and looked for something for UCW, it was on like billboards. It was on everywhere. The guy, I mean, he pulled some strings and got it on the radio like weeks before. Everybody knew that was going to be down there.
Right.
And what did we have like the day of the event? Doug texted in like, let's go and do a radio promo. Let's just like, no, it's not how it goes to tell people that it's going to happen today.
Yeah, no, exactly. So yes, technically UCW did run a show down there and had a better crowd. I think they had it was like 300 or something like that. So they did put quite a few people in that building. At the same time, UCW as a company has existed a lot longer than Twin City Wrestling has. People know about it more because it's been around longer. And the marketing for that particular show ended up being better because they had a lot more time to do it. Because we didn't know, look at me talking like I'm fucking part of the company. TCW didn't know their show was going to be in Liverpool until about 2 weeks out because they had to have a venue change. So, it kind of got shot in the foot that way. It still had, I would say, a pretty good show.
Oh, yeah.
And a pretty good showing from people in the crowd, especially from out of Liverpool, based on the fact that it didn't have a ton of time to promote. So let's just talk a little bit about these couple of shows. There's another question in there from that Wrestle Guy, so we'll get that in a second. But Twin City Wrestling announcing 2 upcoming shows. The first one on November the 2nd, which is Saturday, November 2nd, in the building where it all began, the Blockhouse Fire Hall, which was an excellent building for wrestling, had a great show. For their debut shows. We're going back there. Again, I say we. Whatever. I'm just going to say we from now on.
You're going back, too.
Exactly.
You're not... It was the first time that you were in a wrestling ring.
It's true. The first time I actually stood in the middle of a wrestling ring as part of a wrestling company, which was great. So, yeah, that show is on November the 2nd. Blockhouse Fire Hall, 7 p.m. Scheduled to be there at this point. Sexton Phoenix, Alexander Saint, Narcissus Saint, whichever you prefer, Lumberjack Johnson, the TCW Tag Team Champions, the R&R Express, many, many more are going to be on that show. So that is an excellent lineup there for the November 2nd show. And then 2 weeks later, November 16th, they're going back. So it's going to be another show 2 weeks later, which is great. I wish they'd be able to keep up a 2-week schedule for time immemorial, because I think if you ran shows every 2 weeks, you keep it fresh in people's mind.
Hells yeah.
So if it was me and I had the money to do it, then that is exactly what I would be doing. So November 16th is going back. Advertised to appear, of course, the TCW Heavyweight Champion, Dazzlin' Dick Durning. We've got Remy Petit, who used to be Grow Papa Slash, but had a significant heel turn in the last show.
Yep.
Poor Remy. He let the fans down on that one. So we've got Dick Durning. We've got Remy Petit. We've got Shahir Razul. Razul, who is one of the most polarizing members of the Twin City Wrestling roster, which is good because the fans enjoy disliking Shahir Razul. Yeah. Except the Halifax fans. They were blowing up. They loved him.
I tell ya.
But in any case, real good lineup of guys both nights.
Fantana,
exactly. Julius Fantana, one of the most exciting dudes on the roster. They're going to be great shows. Like just true independent wrestling. And I've said this before, and I'm not going to specifically call out any other company. But true independent wrestling is not about having former real high up professional talent, like guys that used to be in WWE or WCW or anything like that. That's not true independent wrestling. That's WWE style wrestling, quote unquote. But true independent pro wrestling is independent guys who you haven't necessarily heard of before you see them in the match, but when you leave that night, you know their name. That is true independent wrestling. I had never seen Dazzlin' Dick Durning wrestle before the night where I announced him as the first ever Twin City Wrestling heavyweight champion. I had never seen him wrestle before. I had never seen 90% of the guys on the card wrestle before. But I knew their names. They were household names for me the second I walked out of that show. And that is true independent professional wrestling, as far as I'm concerned. And it's nothing against the people that like seeing the old wrestlers, like the old WWF, WCW, NWA. It's nothing against those guys. If you want to see that, that's fine, because that has a place. But with all due respect, it's not true independent professional wrestling. In any case, we'll put a moratorium on that, because I'm sure someone from UCW is going to listen to this and be like, "They're talking shit about us."
Probably.
I'm not calling anyone out specifically, because UCW is certainly not the only show that does that.
Nope.
Exactly. But we promised you TCW exclusives on this podcast, and say nothing that we don't deliver.
That's right.
So here you go. Saturday, November 2nd, is the return of Wesley Pipes to Twin City Wrestling. No, I'm sorry, that's the 16th, isn't it?
Yes.
My bad.
Now, if
I
you
apologize.
didn't know Wesley Pipes, he was one half of the Last Action Heroes.
Exactly. One half of the Last Action Heroes with Pat Persuasi. They were a very entertaining tag team. We always used to like to yell at Persuasi about having a spray tan. But Wesley Pipes, very big arms, big guy, but just a big man in professional wrestling. Very strong, very talented as well. A guy that just had I believe a Ring of Honor tryout. Was it a Ring of Honor tryout or was it WWE?
I think it was Ring of Honor.
Yeah. So just had a Ring of Honor tryout, so that was very, very cool for him. So, we got Wesley Pipes coming back for that show. That's going to be really, really fun. We have to assume on one of these shows, I would have to imagine probably the November 2nd show where they're actually advertised on the poster. We have to assume that the R&R Express, who again are the TCW Tag Team Champions, are going to be defending their title. Because, spoilers if you haven't seen it, on the last show, they wrestled an extremely competitive non-title match with Lumberjack Johnson, who just came over from UCW, and Shahir Azul. It was a very, very competitive matchup. So you have to assume that they're probably the number one contenders for those titles, because we haven't seen the Gyration Nation in a little while.
Right.
So basically, we have to assume that they're the number one contenders. So I would think on that November 2nd show, that's going to be probably the main event of the show. Is those four vying for the tag team titles. Also, of course, we have the TCW heavyweight champion, Dick Durning, who really at this point does not have a number one contender.
No, it seems like he's wrestled a lot of the people.
Yeah, he's wrestled the guys that were in line for his title. He wrestled and defeated Julius Fantana on back-to-back nights. He's wrestled and defeated Sexton Phoenix twice. There's no clear-cut number one contender for Dazzlin' Dick Durning's title. However, I can confirm specific information that was not made available anywhere else. Dazzlin' Dick Durning will defend the TCW Heavyweight Championship on the November 16th show versus a competitor who has not had a title match yet. So it can't be Chip Chambers, can't be Julius Santana, can't be Sexton Phoenix, because those three have already had title opportunities. So it's against someone who has never had a championship opportunity in TCW before.
The B Machine?
The B Machine. Or Batman. Yes, exactly. B Machine for champion. Dazzlin' Dick Durning versus El Handsamo.
Oh, God.
But all right. So, having it in mind that it's someone that has never had a title opportunity in TCW before.
Yeah.
We're going to play a little game that we love to play on these podcasts called Nick and Justin Book It. It's a little fantasy booking challenge, if you will. Nick, you know we have 2 Twin City Wrestling shows upcoming.
Yes.
Tell me what you would like to see happen, not with who wins, but ultimately what you would like to see happen on those 2 shows leading up to who challenges Dick Durning for the TCW Heavyweight Championship.
Wow. Okay, you sprung this on me last moment.
No, not really. I told you about it last night, motherfucker.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, I was drinking.
Sorry, I was drinking.
Yeah.
This seems to be a popular theme here.
Possibly.
All right.
Well, I would like to see, and I don't know, maybe a battle royal.
Okay.
Or but that's kind of like how they. Actually, that's exactly how they did it to find out who was going to win the belt.
Right. So to win the belt initially, Dick Durning won a battle royal, and then the first number 1 contender was also decided in a battle royal.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe do it like a King of the Ring type of thing, where you have like qualifiers and win the matches and they push themselves on and stuff like that. And
So if you did that, if you did kind of a King of the Ring style thing, whether that's with 4 guys or 8 guys or whatever, who would you like to see be the next challenger for the title?
I keep on telling you, and it's not going to happen because he said that it's somebody new. I think Sexton Phoenix should have the belt.
Yeah, you're a big Sexton. Well, we're both big Sexton fans. Again, where he kind of said it was going to be somebody that has never had a shot before. So that is kind of unfortunate for Phoenix, because I think Phoenix has given Dick the 2 best matches for the title. No disrespect to Julius and no disrespect to Chip Chambers, but I think in terms of the quality of matches, I think Sexton has come closest to beating Durning. And like the match that they had in Blockhouse, again, not to spoil it for anybody that wants to see it when it's on TV, and we have information about that as well. But that was a stiff match. Like that was a strong style, looked very, very, very rough match. You know what I mean? Took a lot out of both guys. And yeah, we're both big Phoenix fans. I think eventually, when Phoenix gets another shot, I think Phoenix can win the belt. I really do. That, of course, remains to be seen. But if you had to take someone that hasn't had a title opportunity yet, and say if there's one guy in there that you'd like to see, aside from, of course, Phoenix, get a title opportunity and who could potentially win the title, who would you say?
God.
I know I'm asking a lot from you.
You are. You normally don't. I'm the quiet one in the background that chips in and says shit when he has shit to say.
Exactly. I'm putting you on the spot, motherfucker.
You are. I don't like it.
Give me a name. Just toss a name out there.
You're going to have to cut out so much dead air.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Me.
We have been clamoring and waiting and demanding from Cyril Richards a Nick Stevenson heel turn. I'm telling you, it's gold. A Nick Stevenson heel turn where he challenges Dick Durning for the heavyweight championship.
Just be the sound guy.
Exactly. The sound guy versus Dick Durning. And somebody has a run in and like knocks him out with something, and you just crawl over and pin him like Bischoff when Bischoff won the title. And oh yeah, we just go full-fledged WCW with it. Fair enough. I like the King of the Ring idea.
Yeah.
Like I really like the concept of probably only 4 guys, because you don't want to make it's this, because like you could do 8 guys, but that would have to be the whole November 2nd show.
True.
Because that would be 4 plus 7 matches, so it'd have to be the whole show. So, but like if you took 4 guys, like I'm just going to take 4 guys off the top of my head that have not had title matches yet. We're going to go Remy Petit, Wesley Pipes, Alexander Saint, and Shahir Razul. So 4 guys that have not had title matches yet. You take those 4 guys, you match them up, and they go. Out of those guys, I would really, really like to see Shahir Razul get the next shot. Now, I understand that Shahir is kind of involved with this whole thing with the R&R Express, and I don't think that is finished by a long shot.
Right.
But Shahir represents a clear and present danger to anybody that holds a belt, or really anybody that steps in the ring with, because he's very, very talented, and people might not like him, but he's just very good. So there's a significant chance that Shahir Razul, if he got a title shot, could very well upset Durning and win the belt. So I would honestly say I would really like to see Shahir be the one to get the next shot. It's probably not going to happen that way, but I mean, I'd be okay with Saint getting the next shot. I'd be okay with Remy getting the next one. So there's a lot of fun. There's a lot of interesting and a lot of fun ways it could go. But
absolutely.
For the purposes of Justin and Nick book it, Nick is doing the bad booking of putting himself in the championship match.
I am. I'm thinking about me, not about yous.
See, there you go. There's part of your heel turn.
Me's.
It's like, fuck everybody else.
Me.
It's all about Nick. It's Nick's time.
Screw your music. You don't get. You're coming out to It's Random Men.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Get out to the ring.
Exactly. And like 5 or 6 times a show, they just chase you away. Jesus. But I'm going to toss my support there behind Razul. I would really like to see Razul. If it's going to be a guy that's never gotten a title shot before, as we have had confirmed by TCW President Cyril Richards, it's going to be someone who has never had a shot before. I would like to see it be Shahir Razul.
Or maybe it's nobody.
Maybe it's
Bacon.
It's Dick wrestling himself. Just like Dolph Ziggler and the broom. We also, again, have a little bit of information regarding TCW's debut on Eastlink.
Show.
The show, of course, in Liverpool, which was recorded for television. We can tell you that is officially going to debut in January of 2014.
Early 2014, as we can tell.
And that's the best information that we have, and you can get anywhere else. January 2014 is when TCW is going to be debuting on Eastlink, and from being there in the crowd and seeing that show, you ain't going to want to miss it, because that was a phenomenal show.
Phenomenal?
Phenomenal. Not phenomenal, phenomenal. Fun and phenomenal all mushed into a ball.
Gonna have to pause this recording.
Okay. Nick, I believe, has to go pee.
I do.
So you go.
You're going to have so much editing, sir.
A little bit, yes. So Nick's going to go pee, and we will be right back. The No Holds Barred podcast is brought to you by No Holds Barred Productions. That's right. The production studio that creates the podcast is also bringing you this podcast. Why? Why not?